Hi, Vapsaya. Welcome back to my extremely comprehensive Godot beginner tutorial series thingy. Okay, so last video we worked on our character controller. Now, my goal for this series is not to create some kind of game or anything, but rather follow the aspects of creating something. I thought it would be a good idea to create a simple platformer and show you the way. This is a good approach because this lets me easily decide the video topics, and it lets you create your simple video game prototype. In today's video, we're more focusing on the environment aspect. As you can see, last video I set it up this little environment, but the problem is I'm pretty sure most of you guys don't know how I did it, because you don't understand the sorting system, how these are lined up, how do I scale things, and all of the canvas related things. So in today's video I'm going to be exploring more of the Godot's interface and the canvas aspects. So without further ado, let's get started. Before we start, here's a side note. I have flu, so I might breathe more than usual. I know while editing the last video I realized that while talking I breathe a lot, and the sound of me breathing is quite annoying. I'm aware of that, so I apologize in advance. So let's get started. Okay, let's go ahead and delete all of these. You'll notice that you can go ahead and select all of these objects, but our player and all of these stuff is selected, yet the hidden objects aren't selected. This eye hides the collision shapes that we created last video. We'll learn about them more later. So I'm gonna do is I'm gonna manually select each of them and hit the delete button, and it asks you to delete the for background 0 thing. Make sure the name is matching here, because sometimes you select some kind of property and it ends up deleting the base node. I'll explain this thing later. So delete. I'm going to delete the static body and all of the things that are its children. You can see this little bar. It's similar to how replies and comments work in YouTube. So these are its children. So when the parent moves, which is the static body, which is right here, it's yellow now, all of the children move as well relative to the position here. So if I delete the parent, it will delete the children as well. So I'm gonna press the delete button to delete this. Now I'm only left with the camera and the player. The player is an instantiation. Let me pronounce that again. Instantiation. What that means is if I delete this, it's not gone forever, but rather it's always present in the base player scene. I can add this player scene to the another scene. This way I can use the properties of this scene in this one, and all of the modification I make will affect all the instances of the player. So if I were to create multiple of the players here, all of them will follow the same logic of this node. We'll learn about instantiation more as we go along the series, as it's something that you pick up slowly. So let's get started with the environment. The camera is the most important part. The camera in Godot is pretty simple. It's just a simple node with a limited number of properties. I know. That's the point. It has a lot of different properties, and these are quite confusing to me as well, but we'll explore them, as I said, slowly. You don't need to learn everything at once. Let's just go slowly. So in this video I'm going to be setting up a simple level so you can understand how a base level is created. Most of the time by using we use a tile map. Let's go ahead and create a node 2D. We're going to be explaining more. So what a node 2D is, a simple plain node. It doesn't have any properties. I mean, it does have some properties. I mean, it's not doing too much of a functionality. itself, but rather it's a parent class for all of these nodes. Let's go ahead and create one. Now a node 2D has only a couple of properties. It's the position, rotation, and transforms. Whenever a node has inheritance from a certain node, that means it's the child class of another node. It shows it right here. For example, it itself is a node 2D. Now if I add another node, which is a node 2D's child class, you can see these all blue nodes are node 2D's child class. Why? Because they are all work in the 2D space. Similarly, the node 3D has all of these children, which are the 3D versions of some of these node 2D childs. You'll explore them as you create your games, and we'll explore them in the series. Today, under the node 2D, if we go up here, I think I lost him. Okay, so let's search for our tile map. Tile map. You can see there are two tile map nodes. The thing is, before Godot 4.4, I mean Godot 4.3, the developers used to have the engine, the tile map layer node. But in Godot 4.3, which is the version I'm using, the node was deprecated. I'm sure if you're good at English, deprecated means that this node is present inside the engine. It's not removed, but it's not going to get any updates. It stays because some people who are developing games in Godot used this node to create their games, so now it's hard for them to move. So the node is present here, but they don't recommend using it, but rather they recommend using the tile map layer node. Now, what's the difference? Let me explain. The tile map layer node, of course, when you create an image, there are layers. I mean, there's the ground layer, then there's the tree layer. Just for example here, the stone layer, the hills layer, any kind of layers. So the tile map node houses all of these layers in the single node. Now the tile map layer node lets you create a node for each of the layers. This is way more versatile, and I'll show you how. Let's go ahead and create one. If you select a node and hit the create, and it's going to be created. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it the child of this node 2D. Now this is a simple trick that you should have used always. Why? You can minimize this, and now the node 2D is the child of this node 2D. I mean the layer is node of the, oh my god, I can't speak. Okay, so the tile map layer is the child of this node 2D, so I can just close the drop down and it's hidden. I can rename it by double clicking and name it map. It's our tile map. So now all of the layers are inside this node. We do this because previously we used in previous versions we used to have the tile map node, and it used to have all the layers organized in the single node. Now that you have a lot of different layers, it's easy to misplace them or move them, so it's hard to organize them. So having them under our node definitely helps. You can rename it to ground layer, anything like that. I'm not going to do that because I don't like renaming nodes too much. Okay, so we got the map layer 1. You can have it map layer 1 and map layer 2, stuff like that. So, and you can hide the drop down. Now the thing is that the tile map layer node is quite interesting to set up in Godot. If you have used a tile map system in some other engines, the Godot version is pretty different. Let's go ahead and create our tile set. Now tile set is the actual tiles that you draw on a tile map, but I think we are getting ahead of ourselves. So let's click this empty, and this opens a drop down, and you have a couple of options. You can load our existing tile map, tile set, but you can create a new one. Let's go ahead and hit the new one. Now if you select this and here under you can see the tile set menu. Now you need to discrete between these guys. Now the tile set menu is for setting up, for importing and setting up. I think you understand that. So you can import the tiles here. The easiest way is going to your assets, wherever they are, and searching for the tile that you want to use. For example, here I'm going to use this one, the grass one-way tiles. I'm going to drag and drop it right at this space. Now it's going to create a new texture, new tile, and you can see, and it's all asking us to automatically cut it into the size, this one right here. You can change it, but you can say no, so these tiles aren't cut it, and you can cut them. I'm going to be importing another one, this one, and this time, because the tiles are supposed to be cut in 16 by 16, I'm going to say yes, and they are already now cut it. Now if they are not cut it and you want to have them a different size, you can go here and you can just change the texture region. This is the grid size, the size of the grid. Let me show you the grid. This button enables the grid. This is the grid that you place these tiles on, and according to the size of the tile, you change the size of the grid. So for example, your tile here is a single tile, it's not cut, it's a bit black, and you want to cut it. You go to the tile set section and go to the setup section, and you click on it, and it's now added to your tile map. Click them individually, or you can hold and drag and add them in. So now they are tiles, cut it up. You can change the size here, region. Now you can just go to the tile map menu and select the draw tool, select the tile and place it. It's that simple. And you use this simple way to set up your level. You can select multiple tiles and you can set up your maps. Okay, so that's just the core of it. You get a bunch of other tools like the good old selection tool to select a tile and move it. Pretty nice actually. I think this one is quite handy. You can delete the selected tiles. You can use the rectangle tool to use one tile, fill one tile multiple grids in a rectangle. Of course, you got the fill bucket tool to fill it. It's not going to work on empty space, only works in between. You can fill it right there and it's going to fill it. And we got the eraser tool. The eraser tool is kind of a modification of these ones here after these lines. So you turn the rectangle tool into a rectangle eraser if the eraser mode is enabled. You turn the pen into a pen eraser, like that, and a fill bucket eraser, something like that. So that's just the simple tiles. And of course you got the contiguous and stuff like that. We also have the randomization button. So for example, we have 4 of these tiles. We select 4 of them. We can just place them by the drawing tool. We want to have each of these tiles placed randomly whenever we click. So we click this button, and now it's not going to place all of these as a single tile, but rather create a randomization brush thing. So every time you click, it's going to place one of these randomly, and just like that. That's it. You can right click, the opposite your non-main button. If you're using the left button as your main button, you can use the opposite button opposite to that to remove these tiles. Pretty standard drawing stuff. And yeah, that's the core of this. The tile map is quite complex as you haven't touched these options yet. For example, the grid type, you're using an isometric grid. It's going to be like that, a half size brick kind of grid, like a half offset grid. I don't know if you want to use that. I would probably won't. And the hexagon grid, I made some videos exploring these ones. You can check them out on my channel and stuff like that. But let's just not go too complex on the tile map system because I don't think you need it too much right now. So what I'm going to do is, I'm really bad at map design. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my Explorer, and yeah, I go to one of these images, import these images here. This is just some lazy stuff. Wait a minute, I'm going to import them. Right, like that. And import them here. Yeah, shit. Let's select this, and okay, we got this image, and oh, it's too big, but we can scale it by using the transforms, and we can do is 0.2, 0.3. Okay. This is just a lazy cut. I'm using one of the screenshot to create the map design. Yeah, you can do that too. Because I'm really bad at coming up with map designs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this tile map, this picture to here. It's not the child of this. So I'm going to use this as a reference to draw one of the tile maps. You can do the same. So you can easily create this. So let's do it. Let's do it again as an exercise and import some more tiles. Try doing it yourself, and yeah, things like that. And I'm going to import this one. And make sure you are in the tile set to import this guy, you know. Okay, I think that's enough. I don't need any more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the tile set map menu, and I'm going to design this, copy paste the simple level. So you go ahead and follow me if you want to. First of all, we go like this. You can copy all of it, and be sure to be in the brush mode and the random button off if you're selecting multiple of them, and you can just press them like this and fill in the gaps later, like that. I'm not copying it too much here, just so I can create a good enough reference thingy. I know I'm bad. I am bad at speaking. So we got a bit of this thing, and we got a little bit of that going. I have no idea what I'm doing. And let's place this right here. And I think we're quite done. Let's not go too complex, because I'm really not good at creating original maps, because I'm not creating a game, so it's hard to imagine a map design. Let's go. The cool thing about mapping is that you need to maintain a concept. For example, if you see in this map, they are going with the concept that all of these little ground versions are using this tile version, and the up version hills are one-way tiles. You know, these one-way, the name of them is the grass one-way and grass tiles. So they are going with a theme. This theme will let them easily create a tile map without, you know, having inconsistencies and making it look weird. And if your tile set looks weird, that means your game look weird. I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. So basically, creating good levels is the key to creating, you know, most of the level-based games. And this is one craft that you will need to master, and you probably can't avoid. Even if like you can't really hire a person to create your maps if you are an indie developer, if you catch my drift there. And let's import these spikes here. I'm going to show off some more features of tile map. For example, I got these spikes here. And let's go to tile set and import these spikes. And like that. No, you got these spikes here. These are different from these ones, and these have different color as well. We're not going to import these spikes, but we can turn these into those. So what we can do is we can select this spike. You can see this is vertical in this one, but this is like going up. We want it to go like right. So you can do is you can click this button to rotate this, and now it's rotated because the direction, you know, this one, we can do it like that. It's just a simple handy trick, but it's so useful, you know, and you can reuse tiles this way. I mean, who wants to create rotated variation for every tile? So it's a good idea to not go in that way and just use this one. This one just flips it, you know, like mirror it, since it's like identical, so you can notice. But if I use this one, you know, like that, and I'm gonna, you know, it's flipped. But on this, and these two have keys C, X, and Z, you know. Let's do it X and Z. So we can rotate it in the X and the Z and get C to mirror it. Pretty nice, I'd say. That's the basic of drawing. Now let's go ahead and add collisions to these. If I go ahead and add our player by clicking this chain button, and our player, and place him here. I run the game. Wait a minute, and let's run the current scene. You can see the player goes right through. We don't want that, so let's go ahead and add some collisions. How do we add collisions? It's in the tile set. Now you can see this is called the physics layer right here. You can add a layer. This is a collision layer. You can add multiple. This way, you know, this is kind of for example, you want to have a different layer. I mean, each tile map, this tile map contains the tiles for, you know, the ground and the spikes as well. And these all should have their different kind of collisions. So you can see we got the, you know, for the ground, we got this for the spikes. So each one should have their own different kind of collisions. So this shouldn't be colliding on the same, you know, collision shape. So we can easily discrete between them. So that's kind of the concept. So this physics layer, this is one layer. You can add another layer. There are two of them now. So like one for, you know, collision, like bad collision, good collision, stuff like that. We added one layer, and we can go to paint. Now paint is the most powerful tool when it comes to the tile. Now what it lets you do is paint properties. You know, we paint collision over them. Let's go to the physics and physics layer, and you can see this is the brush. This is the collision brush. You can click and it's gonna be added as on the apply, and you can change the brush. You know, you can see the last one. If I click this one, this is you need to consider this as a brush. When you change it like that, it doesn't update here, even though it looks like this one is behind this collision, so it's gonna update. It's not gonna update. You have to click it because you are using this one as a brush. That's a step you really need to remember. You can move it, and it's still the last click. So like that, and let's click all of them because there's no modification needed in this collision. And we got this one as a collision. Now we need the upper one as a collision as well. So go to this one and paint again, and you can see the same collision layer works for each of the tiles. And by now we should already have collision because the tiles are already placed there, so there's no updating needed. Run the scene, and we got collision. Yippee, yippee. You can see that one thing that's not happening is that we are colliding with this one, and we can walk here. We'll add that sometime, and you can jump, and since there's no collision to it, it doesn't do anything. So I hope you understand. Now there are multiple things that you can paint. If you go under the paint section again and select this, and under the paint properties, there are multiple properties you can paint. You can modulate like you change the color, I mean add a tint to it, you know, modulate this by a bit, select this one and modulate by a pinkish color, stuff like that. And you can now paint this like that. So it's just for, you know, doing some color modification. You can change the Z index, Y origin, trains, probability. These are properties we'll explore when we set up terrains, which is a complex topic and requires a separate video for if it's on. I mean, essentially auto tiling, if you know what it is. Okay, now that we have this, you know, map setup, we want our player to, the camera to move with the player. I actually did it and you know, the recording got cut off, so I'm doing it again. So the simplest trick is to make the camera the child of the player. Just like that. I removed the reference, so that just works pretty fine, and in fact most of the people use it this way. But you can, you know, use the complex way of coding. There's some features here, you know, the limit, the maximum play, you know, position the camera should go to, you know, at the end of your level. But you can just usually just write the coordinates, the position, and the position smoothing. This way, the player moves a bit and the camera follows after. I'm going to increase it a bit, like that. And you know, let's run it. And now you can see the player moves first and the camera follows later. A bit of a smooth, you know, thingy. You know, the bottom is empty. You can set the limits for the bottom so it doesn't go in the bottom. Let me do that actually. Let's go ahead and select the camera, move it a pixel so it doesn't, you know, select the camera. I mean, I can just select the tile map, move it to the position I want it to be, like that. Now, this is the position of the X position of the camera. If you go to the camera and the transforms, you can take the Y position, controls, you know, I don't know, not like that. What I do is I create a control A, a marker. Marker is just like a Node 2D, but it's has these things, so it's easily, you know, visible from far away. It's just for using reference of positioning and get other functionalities as well. So I'm going to place it right here. I'm going to take the Y coordinates, go to the camera, limits, and at the bottom let's place this position. And now if I run the scene, the camera won't go under that. Even though the player is moving, it's not going to go under that, you know, just like that. A simple trick. The camera got other properties, you can customize that, but I think good enough now. Now let me leave you with a simple trick for creating simple repeating backgrounds. For example, I got this one. I can place it here like that. It's above it, so let's send it behind above that tile map, like that. No, it's good, but it doesn't repeat, and whenever I'll get here, it's just gonna end. I don't want it to end. I want it to, you know, repeat and keep repeating. Let's create a bit of another map, I mean more map, so we have more place to explore. Go to tile map. I'm gonna be pretty quick. I'm gonna select this. I'm gonna place it right. Let's just select this. I'm gonna place it like that, and the ends, and just a quick map. Another one here, like that, and let's create just another one. and quick and easy. I know I should do it fast forward, but come on, let me smooth some watch hours here. Channel's dying, please watch my videos. And like that, we got a simple map. Not so original because, come on, I'm not a map artist here. Let's go ahead and run the game. And now if I, move from the level, oh shit, this guy can't jump this one. So I can go ahead, tile map, I can select this and move it a pixel down. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be able to climb this one as well. So let's make it, and just like that. So you can see as moved in through the map, it doesn't repeat anymore and it's quite vague. Let's make it repeat by Control A and add parallax. You must have heard the word somewhere, a parallax background. This one you should create first. It's created now. Now you create Control A and add a parallax layer node. This is the new node. It's experimental, the name suggested, and you can add any image that you want to repeat or parallax under it as a child. I'm going to be adding this one as a child. Now what you can do is select this under motion underneath the parallax layer, you can mirroring, and you enter the size of this image. The X size is 320, I guess. Yeah, I was spot on. And you can just move the numbers by using the arrow keys to increase the number, and you can just match it, moving it left and right. And once we got this 4 of these, it's gonna repeat infinitely. You can set the motion scale. Now what a motion scale is, it's gonna be moving opposite direction of the player, so it looks like the background is moving. You can go to the parallax layer, and I'm just gonna be doing 1.2 as the motion. It's gonna be giving the parallax effect, and you can see it looks like the background is moving. I mean, it's just giving that effect. 1.1 is quite much. Personally, I'm quite scared of these nodes, these parallax nodes. I don't really like these for some reason. I mean, these are quite, I don't like that. So I just don't like the motion for a repeated background. But you can add them if you add multiple layers. And oh my god, I'm falling every time. I can make this jump. Oh yeah. You can see now it's repeating infinitely. And it will repeat in the Z direction as well. And just like that. I forgot the camera and remove the limit. I run it. And this time intentionally make it fall. And you can see it's repeating infinitely in the X and Y direction. So yeah, that's just the simplest parallax 2D and the tile map layer introduction. I know there's a lot more to cover, but I think that's it for this video. And I'm going to be exploring more of the level design thing in the next videos. So I'll see you in the next one.